nearly had zero coke come out of my nose.
It's a good thing we don't broadcast live.
Oh, mate, one day.
So let's start that again. So AFL afraid of the mark. I'm Chad Talbot.
It's not called that.
We are afraid of the mark.
Why do you say AFL every week?
That's what we talk about.
It's okay.
No, you talk about war, cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, World War II is important. It was a big part of our history, especially the weekend just gone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm Finn.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Chad Talbot, and this hopefully will go for 60 minutes.
Lest we forget.
Lest he forget how to do a fucking intro. Yeah, lest we forget. Yeah.
Good Anzac round.
Yeah, big games,
Great games.
big moments, upsets.
Yeah.
The opposite of upsets.
Number one tip sitting in the room here. Tonight.
7 out of 9.
7 out of 9.
Oof.
Yep. What'd you make of the round, gentlemen?
For our teams, bitterly disappointing.
Bitterly
Our
disappointing.
team's disappointing. Your team was a fucking embarrassment.
Yeah.
That was the worst start I've seen for quite some time. They jumped us.
Imagine letting Freo get an easy run on you. Even the Eagles made it hard for them.
Yeah, it's another chapter in my suicide note. Yep.
Absolutely.
Rewind. Look, interesting round. Not a huge amount to really come of it, to be fair. Not much in the way of changes in ladder positions or sort of big wins, big losses. A couple of little potentially unexpected results. I didn't expect Carlton to beat Geelong.
No, didn't expect Carlton. Didn't expect Freo to win. A couple of teams just on that are really starting to irritate me this season.
Well, GWS, they've become impotent at this point. Bulldogs touched them up nicely.
I think that's more to do with the Bulldogs, but like this,
Yeah. Oh, they're no easy beat. No.
they're just like in elite form right now. No, there's three teams that are irritating, and that is Carlton, Sydney, and Sink.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought GWS would be on that list.
Nah, they'll probably be alright, I'd say. Losing the Dogs right now is a different story.
Fair.
Sydney are losing games they're meant to win and winning games that they should be dominating in.
Yeah.
St Kilda are definitely winning games they're not meant to win and then losing games that they're meant to be winning. And Freo just fuck me dead. Like, how can anyone tip well when they're playing?
They're a frustration.
Just making sure the Maltese don't go through at this point, I think.
Who knows? Like, next week they're going to dish up the same fucking thing. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, no, they're back there running again. And then they're going to go, oh, no, we got fingered. But they're probably playing Richmond and they're going to lose by 80 points.
No, they're playing St Kilda this round.
It's the exact same thing.
The Ross Lyon Cup.
Yeah. Oh, the Ross Lyon Cup. Everyone's favourite game.
Yeah.
Well, please don't tell me that's a prime time.
Let's have a look.
It needs a Sunday time slot, I think, but it's probably going to be a Saturday night.
It better
Probably.
be a Saturday morning, the one morning people go to footy. It's a prime time, isn't it?
It's Friday
Oh,
night.
Whoa!
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. 5:40, Friday the 2nd of May.
Oh, man. Oh,
St Kilda versus Freo at Marvel Stadium.
Oof. With the roof on or off?
Oh, doesn't specify, but roof will be on.
Surprise me.
There you go. So there's two of the three teams that are annoying me. At least one of them can try to do the right thing this week.
Yeah, and at least like you get 2/3 of your frustration out the way in one night.
Yeah. But why does that have to be Friday? That's my night.
I'm not sure Thursday's going to be any better though either.
Ugh.
You got Essendon North Melbourne on Thursday.
No, Essendon West Coast was a good game. That was prime time. That was a good game. North are a better side than West Coast. They are. Both teams at their best is pretty entertaining footy. So right now, I'll sit on the fence for that.
Yeah, fair.
St Kilda is going to fucking terrible.
I'm looking forward to Saturday night.
Well, I have to check every 20 minutes to see if the score's moved. That's all right.
Well,
Just keep flicking the app.
oh,
Yeah, well, if you just put it on in background and do anything else, you won't miss anything.
no, that's true.
What's
true.
Saturday night?
West Coast versus Melbourne.
Is that a prime time?
5:35 on Saturday.
Oh.
here.
I'm going.
Yeah, that's right.
You
I
go,
don't
you
know.
going?
I don't know why.
Well,
I've spent this money on these tickets.
There's a team that West Coast have consistently beat whilst they've been shit. So
Hopefully, this is the one.
You know, Melbourne. We'll never know what Melbourne can put up.
they're starting to come.
I think Goodwin.
We'll see.
Goodwin was reading the players' diaries throughout the week.
We were setting up his proverbial exit interview. But earlier on, 3 weeks ago, we were talking about him get marching orders.
We were.
As the first coach this year to get his marching orders, and they've turned it around since then. So
Was it 3 back-to-back wins now for the Dudes? Or just 3 wins?
I'm pretty sure they're on the trot.
Are they?
Yeah, they've played. They've put
Pretty
some consistent
yeah,
footy
because
together.
they were 0 something. They might
They've
have
won.
been 2
They've won
wins.
2,
Yeah, 2
So
wins.
sorry.
Yeah, both have been extremely. But
and they're not back to back. They lost to the Giants last week.
well, they lose.
My memory's getting worse.
3 points.
Yeah, so it was come on, it was nearly 3 back-to-back wins. Kicking it.
Wait. The app just did something weird.
Yeah, it's always the app.
That was their first game where they lost by 3 points to the
Oh.
Giants. And they lost to North. It's always the app. It was the app.
Anyway,
Then
so
they lost to Gold Coast. Then they
got
lost
two-
to
they
Geelong.
got 2 wins in a row.
Then they lost to the Bombers. Then they beat Freo, beat Richmond.
Yeah, they got 2 wins in a row. They'll come good. They'll have 3 wins in a row. They will.
Yeah, they probably will.
They will.
Then they got Hawthorn.
Because someone
Then Brisbane.
will play like a key defender and full forward and
Yeah.
omit the only good player goals or who knows? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, something weird's going to happen.
Something
There's some
weird's
interesting coaching moments on the weekend, I feel.
Right.
Fuck yeah, there was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matty Nick's being the most interesting.
Why?
Good.
Why? So this is I was chatting to my buddy. I'm not going to name drop. It's not. But he,
Alex
Hang
Pearson.
no, when they played, Adelaide played GWS.
Name drop.
No, when Adelaide played GWS, they manned up in a perfectly defensive game, right? To the point where both teams couldn't score, right?
Yeah.
It was just like they both went, they're so offensive, we're going to be ultra defensive, right? Both teams did it. They then came in against Freo and were giving them a touch up at the start, and then the Dockers were starting to get a bit of a run, but they never manned them up. They kept trying to play a zone defense, which made openings for Fremantle. If they'd gone 1-on-1,
You just run straight
they
through.
would have just shut Fremantle down. They
Yeah.
would have lost all of their run, and therefore they could have essentially done rebound. Because they're struggling in the contest, but if they can't get the ball forward, then you can get
Turnover, rebound, job done.
Yeah. And they just didn't. Matty Nicks just didn't do it. You successfully executed it against the Giants the week prior, to the point where a team that was on a steamroll
Obviously had the thought of wanting to back in his own game plan and their own style of football.
Their own game plan was fine for the first half, but then Freo started to get a bit of run. All they had to do was make that defensive change, like they had played the whole game the previous week, and they would have won that.
Well, it was over in the first quarter the way Freo came out.
But it really wasn't. Like,
Well, it's like 5, was it? It was 5 goals to 2, I think. We let a heavy score in.
I'm pretty sure Adelaide pulled it right back immediately.
We came back at part, but even in the fourth quarter, I think it was our best quarter. The game was done by that point. We just didn't look in the game. Freo were hungrier.
No, it was a purely poor coaching move. It was an answer to how Fremantle were playing, and they'd done it the week before, but just chose to not.
Interesting one. I wonder what sparks those sort of decisions in that process.
Not Coke.
No, definitely not.
Zero Coke.
0. Yeah,
is it just is it that indecisiveness of just not?
Well, potentially, it's like,
dropping?
maybe we wait and see what happens. Maybe they're going to come good, maybe. And then before you know it, it's too late, and then you're like, oh fuck it, doesn't matter anyway. So just carry on, flogging the horse. Who knows? Because carrying on flogging the horse meant they started to come back in the last quarter when Freo were running out of leg. But
they could have tied them
could have
up
potentially
prior to
done that. Yeah.
very easily.
Yeah.
But it's but yeah, Sydney, Chad Warner re-signed
Yeah.
2 years, bring him to free agency.
That's
Yep.
strategical. He'll go after that.
Yeah. If I had any idea, which I don't, I like to pretend I do. I'd say that would have been a gentleman's agreement between Chad and the club that if a trade offer comes, that way Sydney more out of it. Or he rides 2 more years
Into free agency.
in the
Goes
free
wherever he
agency
wants.
and then walks.
Yeah, I think a lot of players now are signing
and
up.
they might have said we want you to walk in 2 years' time in your free agency, so we can get a first round compensation pick when.
A lot of players are signing up to
That'd be
25 now, and then they'll do the last big one where they want to go at 25. It seems and then they'll do the long term one. Yeah, interesting.
It's probably there'll be there managers that are pushing that landscape because it go, if you've made it to 25, and you've set yourself out, we can get you a 7-year deal, 8-year deal. If your body doesn't hold up, well, who cares?
Yeah, true.
Right up till then. But I reckon there was a bit of that going on. Seems strange that he'd take a 2-year off. Probably.
Well, that was what was being reported with that there was long-term 5 and 6 year deals in front of.
There would have been a massive one, huge one.
Yeah, that would have been 5 or 6.
Oh, more than that, I reckon.
You reckon?
He's what, 23?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There would have been an 8-9 year deal and 10-year deal in front of him, I reckon.
Become the marquee player.
And when you throw you got all the money in the world, you throw a deal like that, you pull him in, you make a statement. I don't
know.
Chad Warner's such a good player, you just want him to see him play in your own team. I think if anyone said every club would be gunning for him at free agency, you'd just be like,
oh, you wouldn't say no.
Geelong will be offering 2 farms for 1.
Yeah.
Be pretty full on.
Yeah. Yeah, wild.
But I think they're cactus this year.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with that. They seem to sort of be going backwards.
Rapidly.
Yeah. Even when you look at the superstars that were pulling their weight over the last few years, they just don't seem to be anywhere near as good as they were.
No.
Is it the game plan? Is it the new game plan that's causing them to go backwards so quick?
We talked about this. I'm not seeing a huge
anything different at all
in that game plan.
Well, they're struggling for forwards at the moment.
They've always been a bit of a strange forward line,
Mm.
and they haven't opted to try and poach someone to replace Bud.
No, so it's almost like the kick to Bud thing is now rearing its.
Yeah, but
ugly
they've
head.
got plenty of guys who can score. I think what's hurting them is no Goulden.
He's a big out.
He is.
And one player doth make a team, as you like to say, but his presence restricts a lot of things that Aney would usually do, Pappy would usually do.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Well, even Brad Walsh, he's been. I mean, the Sydney Swans, they started off well, then they just kind of ran out of juice.
It
But then again,
wasn't that. It's I had messages. I was watching that game. I was sitting in the pub watching that for a meeting, and they were just like, "Oh, we're gonna win now," and that the Suns just kind of shifted, and they couldn't fucking stop them.
No, midfield's lethal.
That was scary when Tuke Miller just turned it on. It was like clearance goal, clearance goal,
Yeah.
clearance goal, clearance goal.
But
And I feel like
it just
every
went
single
too
one
far.
of those was took Miller.
He's beast.
So where's that been for the last 12 months where he was in beast mode, then it kind of just turned off, and then it's back again. And I was like, what the fuck? And I love him. He's one of my favourite players. When he's performing, it's so good to see.
Well, he's a professional athlete. Look at the way he
You
conditions
look at,
himself.
as Derm would say, look at those
Look at the body on that
body
one.
on him, but he just he's so fit.
Yeah, his
he's
jersey looks like
Isaac,
it's spray painted on. Yeah.
Isaac Quainer, you can just tell they have insane training routines.
Yeah, work ethic of fucking. I don't know what has a good work ethic, but they do.
But could he do that because Sydney are lacking contested centre department? I don't know, but your argument would be, well, Sydney should never lose a clearance ever.
No, the midfielders are both pretty stacked on both sides.
Yeah, and Brody Grundy.
Yeah.
Just be like, Sydney it should be illegal for Sydney to lose.
You're right.
Clearance. Should be illegal. Or is it Errol Gould and that?
We've got a vote on Sunday. That might be something we could get passed through. Maybe Dado needs a few more popularity points.
There you go.
What?
I don't know.
You said you wanted to make it. You said it should be illegal.
It should be. I think I'm being literal, Chad.
Oh, I was being quite literal. Yeah. The rest of what the rest of what they're offering is no good. So we need something else.
You're funny, man. You are funny. What are your thoughts on the rest of the coaching? You said obviously Matty Nicks. Obviously Sydney, there's a problem going on there. You said there was some interesting coaching.
Yeah, we had the Ross Lyon one. That was so he.
Did you see his post game presser?
Nah, you were talking about that one.
Yeah, there was two components. The before and it was so there was the young player who played 16 or 17 games who wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. So Ross pulled him off and subbed him at I think it was before halftime to make a statement, and then
excellent.
he was pretty animated on the bench to him, which look fair enough.
Sick Ross boss.
Yeah.
But then
That's
I
a
mean,
cracking
so
idea.
so the commentary which I was reading through some of the presenters, one of them was like, "Oh, but why is he yelling at one of the young players? Shouldn't he be addressing the senior players?" I'm like, "Well, why shouldn't you be addressing the person who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing?"
I mean,
like he can yell at whoever he wants.
yeah, 100%. Get yelling. It's probably something that's not a tool that's not used enough these days, in my opinion.
Well, you can't yell anymore because as soon as somebody says mental health, you have to stop. And it's like everyone's depressed in this generation. Find another excuse. Inflation's dreadful.
I don't disagree with him, to be honest.
No.
I don't think yelling at him on the football field's the way to go, though.
But everyone cops a spray. You look at Alex Ferguson from Manchester. They used to call him the hairdryer because he used to just blow, or your hair would be going back of how much he was yelling at you.
They just copped the spray in the rooms.
Yeah, but they came out after halftime and they fired. What was the second quarter? They really started to come out and they started to at least challenge a bit, and then they fell away a bit.
50 points. There's nowhere in that game where you can say, "Oh, Saints came to play."
No, they had some passages where they got smashed at the contest. Their contested footy was
fucking annihilated.
dreadful.
It was embarrassing how bad they got belted.
And then, but you're talking. Then the press conference came.
Did you see what he said?
No.
So the journo says, "Hey, what did you make of that, Ross?" And he's like, "Well, what did you make?" And they're like, "Well,
He loves that classic
I'm
deflection.
asking you." And he's like, "No. Like, tell me how do you think we went?" And they're like, "Look, it's pretty clear how you went." He's like, "Yeah, but what do you reckon?" It's like there's having a laugh, and then there's completely
Just being petulant.
like, I don't want you to answer this question because I've got excuse.
Yeah.
What do you say? Oh, my team is garbage. They've been garbage for 151 years.
Well, there's all of those reasons why you probably end up yelling at someone at the side of the fucking oval, to be fair.
Yeah, but
You're over it. You've had enough. You don't pull the lever often enough like you maybe used to back in the day.
But I agree with spray the senior players. That kid's got 16 games under his belt.
Oh, I don't know.
Was he being shit?
I think he wasn't doing his role. 'Cause I think Ross explained it
But
in the
not doing
post-match
your role is
presser.
different from Jack Steele having 30 touches at 12% efficiency, or only or
That's
negative.
also not doing your role.
Or negative.
Oh, well,
meters
that got
gained.
Tom Mitchell a Brownlow, so it's not completely ineffective.
Yeah, but Tom Mitchell had meters gained. What I'm saying is Jack Steele will have meters conceded with his fucking 30 disposals like that. But he's the glory. He could do no wrong. He's the greatest player that club's seen.
Jack Steele.
That's how that club treats him. Is that he's
Lenny Hayes. He was a lad.
obviously.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they think he's a superstar, and he would never get yelled at on the side field. But if the kid's got more than 1 meter gained, he's doing more than Jack Steele is. So
Fair.
I mean, there's every senior player. Zach Jones, what does he do? Nothing. Runs into people in the midfield, but his hands never actually pick the ball up.
But but the press, so I think he asked it, but
I'm
then
exaggerating.
Yeah.
The point is, those senior players are the reason why they suck. The same
Fair.
thing at West Coast. It's not the kids who are the problem. It's the fucking senior players who got their heads up their own. Like,
Yeah, but if he was addressing him directly in his performance, that's fine. And then if you want to bring them all together at halftime, you spray all of them, going seniors, juniors,
yeah, but
whatever.
all I'm saying is you don't need to spray him during play on the side of the field when he's got 16 games experience and technically he's still learning how to play his role. He doesn't fucking know. But you've got Jack Higgins kicking the ball the wrong way.
I don't know. Like, you don't know the circumstance of the
and
conversation.
he's legitimately done that before, is kick the ball the wrong way.
But if they want to play kids earlier on and they want to get them AFL, as soon as you're an AFL player, like you can cop any, it's all equal on the field. Like whether you're 16 games, 300 games, it's open for everybody.
Why is it only kids that he's doing it to? I haven't seen him publicly spray a senior player.
Yeah, well, that was just what they focused on. We don't know what it said at quarter time, half time,
and you also don't know what built up that conversation either. What back and forth there already was before it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but even in the press, then he was
Seems like a pretty measured bloke,
measured. I think he's fucking a joke.
No,
that's why he's hilarious because he actually just.
Yeah, but I mean, I have zero sympathy for the media. They shit talk people weekly. If he wants to clap back at him, I have no issue with it. I don't.
It's not clapping back at the media. I'm happy with that. It's refusing to accept any responsibility for what happened out in the field.
But he did explain what the reason he did explain the reason he dragged, and it was a technical. I can't remember exactly what the term is. The role he was doing was forward, whatever it was.
But he won't dignify a response as to what happened in that game with an actual answer. Instead, it's just I'm going to behave like a 15-year-old.
Yeah, but those after-match
it's one of those, I know you are, but what am I, mate?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, you're a senior fucking coach who just got smashed again.
And part of your job is to answer these questions at the end of a game.
So just fucking answer it.
Yeah, but the post-match press conferences are stupid anyways. Like, what are they've got to come out every week, especially after you've lost, and you've got to say the exact same thing.
I think. Well, I mean, you have to say the exact same thing. I think they're really good, especially when you can highlight something that came from it. Like, You imagine, like, well, how do you reckon Uze felt when Richmond have been losing, but Layla has played like an outstanding game, and then the next kid they've debuted followed in his stead, and he's like, yeah, okay, we lost, but I've now got 3.
How good are these dudes?
How good are these dudes? Like, that's something you want to reflect on, or you want to go, hey, all right, yeah, we didn't execute it, but we've noticed this now, and that's the answers people want to hear, is that you're seeing things you've done wrong. And moving on, Ross Lyon would never give you a fucking shred of that.
No, but he's not. I mean, Chris Scott and Brad Scott can be just as prickly whenever they get asked questions. They can be quite condescending, even if it's a quite straightforward question.
But I've also seen them give answers as to what's going on or what they can take from it.
Yeah, I mean, Ross was clearly pissed off during the whole game, so he probably didn't enter the press conference happy.
Yeah, he seemed pretty happy. He's having a laugh, so...
Like, with the way the media treat most...
I still think he's the worst coach I've ever seen. So.
Ross Lyon?
Yeah.
He's made Freo and St Kilda relevant, and he's the worst coach you've ever seen.
He does not have a premiership, despite having 2 of the greatest lists ever on paper.
Fremantle?
Mate, when Freo went to that grand final, that 4-year window, Freo on paper were like the best team in the competition.
The home and away season they were. Finals, I mean, obviously, in the way that it was done.
That's because Ross Lyon couldn't win if it was sitting in his fucking lap.
Well, I think that's unfair.
He couldn't win a premiership if he was the only team on the field playing a grand final.
His first 2 grand finals were less than a kick decided. But they were literally 2 of them with 2 horrible bounces that went either way.
But he hasn't won one. Can't be that good and not win one.
No, I disagree. We've got players who are legends who have never won a premiership, so I don't think it's fair to hang it on a coach's credentials.
I can, and I will. He willingly coached St Kilda, then Fremantle, then St Kilda again. There's got to be something wrong with him, man.
He goes to 2 clubs with terrible administrations, I think. That seems to be where he wants to go.
I'll take that job. The worst place in the world.
Well, they hide all the...
You know how we like to allude that he's a secret Fremantle supporter? It really starts.
We don't even need to allude it anymore. He's just
no, I don't.
Now flying the flag.
If you want to say Fremantle, Ross Lyon's one of the worst coaches, I could go through 10 that are way worse than him, and 2 of them are coaching right now.
Who are they?
I mean, you've got Voss in terms of his win-loss ratio. and he's not even get close to a prelim fight. Well, no, he was in a prelim, but they got blown away.
Yeah, but he's got more premierships than Ross does as a player. So
So now we're contributing both to their
no,
successes.
I'm just doing it for the sake of the argument.
No, this is gaslighting, is what it is.
Who's the other one?
Who's the other one? Yeah.
Longmuir,
Oh yeah.
at least. There's probably a few more.
Just saying.
I mean, Hinkley.
Love
Hinkley's
Springer.
he's had no premiership. So that.
Stinkley, yeah. And you are right. Stinkley's.
But
There's
no,
a
I think the St Kilda. I mean, like they said, both of those first two grand finals were less than a kick. One was a draw, and both of them were shocking bounces. Where if that ball had flicked up with Milne, goal. If that ball had flicked up to Scarlett, no goal. So sometimes it takes a bit of luck. Is all I'm saying.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
It does.
Sometimes it's hard to crack the
But
shell.
we wouldn't have the great football world narrative we do have if St Kilda had won.
No, so it's a gift in itself, really.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe I love Ross Lyon now.
Maybe you do. You've just convinced yourself in the
Yeah.
space of like 3 minutes.
Hell yeah.
Love that.
Stopped Fremantle from ever getting one. Saints can be the ultimate rabble of a football club.
no, Tasmania will get a premiership before the Saints do.
100% they will.
Same with Gold Coast are on flight. Did the same
Gold,
thing.
Gold. I won't be surprised if Gold Coast, GWS, and Tasmania all get premierships before Fremantle do.
Well, even just the concessions alone.
You
Yeah,
heard
this
that here
team,
first.
you know, the first one was the expansion was done terribly. Second one was done very, very well. Teams played a grand final. Third time's the charm, they say. That thing's going to be pretty much teams will be cakewalk to a premiership.
Do you reckon?
100%. They're gonna be. AFL's gonna pull the leash the whole way.
Mm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
But no,
Definitely
Team
gonna
Ross. I thought he handled it as much. He can
Back to
handle it the
my
way it
best
was.
friend,
Yeah. Ross
He
the
is
boss.
Real the boss. So if Ross turned around right now and said he was going to Adelaide, what would you say?
Mate, well, I know he brings structure, so I would be happy with as a coach.
Is our administration that bad?
Well, mate, St Kilda have no name list at the moment, and they're still not playing half bad for what he's got them doing. So, look, if he can turn a team with no names into something
according to
half-decent.
St Kilda fans, every team player on their team's a A-lister.
In what world is that?
Same world.
I can't even name half their players at the moment.
Couldn't.
All I know is Bradley Hill, and he hasn't done anything since he left Hawthorn, except take big paychecks.
Hey, he did a run last week.
One.
Yeah,
And got run down by Liberatore.
Are they going to arrest him this
He
week?
ran away from someone. Hey,
Are they going to arrest him this week if he's done one
Yeah,
run?
he did a run. That's right. Did a whole heap of run.
What a guy.
Yeah. No, he's a list clogger. Most of their teams list clog.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you reckon if Longmuir was gone and Ross the boss was back for air right now, they'd be doing better?
Yeah, I reckon.
I reckon they'd be
The list they've got now is better than the one they had back in 2013.
great at scoring 6 points. That's all he's fucking good at making happen.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying they've got a better list and he's a better coach.
No,
so
they
I
do.
think, yeah,
Freo have a sensational list. Any coach would do better there,
yeah, their forward line's finally starting
except for Andrew McQualter.
structure. Yeah, and the other coach you were talking about was the Horn Francis Hinkley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it halftime? I thought, or probably remember it was one of the
I
breaks.
feel like it was half
What
time, maybe. Yeah.
happened? Hinkley spray.
Hinkley and Horn Francis having a bit of
Oh, it wasn't a spray. I think
heated discussion, you might call it.
yeah. Well, obviously the North were going to go after him.
Did
Which,
he tell him to go for a bath or ice bath? and
Well,
then he kicked off.
This
or-
is the thing, man. We were talking in the car, and like Horn Francis cracking the sads, like he'd been told to get in an ice bath, and I think he was just getting a bit of a dressing down and putting back in place.
oh, well, there was bits in. I mean, like North have gone after him, which is fair enough because there's obviously a lot of
So they-
personal history
So
there.
they fucking should.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not. Look, obviously, it was always going to happen. Because I think this was the first game that he's played against him since he left. Maybe
No fucking way. He
Is it
left like
not?
3 years ago.
2 years.
Fucking forever ago.
Yeah.
This
So they've
is-
played. So they had played.
They've-
Yeah, they
okay,
have.
okay.
But-
I don't remember
But
that
he,
one. Yeah.
the moment he did what he did, he was resigning himself to an entire playing career of getting bashed, bullied, and hated by the
North
opposition
Melbourne
team.
and all 12 of their
Yeah.
supporters.
No, well, but I mean, you got to remember that a lot of the guys he's playing against, they're all the same age as him, or a little bit older, or a little bit younger, right?
Mm.
He's going to go his whole career facing off against those same dudes, and they're just going to fucking feed it to him. And if you're not tough enough to deal with that, you only have yourself to blame.
It wasn't tough enough to be there in the first
Yeah, but they
place.
could. Yeah, but they didn't
get on with it.
I mean, they won. North Melbourne won the battle, but I mean, Port won the war. North lost again.
That's all right. Horn Francis still deserves it.
Although I'm not saying I can understand why they went after him. Like you want to do anything to get in the heads, right? But like
he gave away 2 50s.
He did, and
which is still 5 less than Fraser Gehrig's record.
I don't know who that is. But
how are you a West Coast supporter and you don't know who Fraser Gehrig?
Are you talking about people that played the game way before I was involved and looked at it or knew anything about what it was?
Yeah, learn your history though.
Fuck off.
Who played in World War II? Trick question, West Coast went around there.
The G train is the whole point of Waterman's.
Oh, is that the guy?
Yes.
Reincarnated.
Twice
even though he's still
twice
alive.
in 3 weeks did the memory thing.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
G train.
Gotcha. Let's just stick to one name.
No, yeah,
Fraser
we're
Gehrig.
jumping around a
G
bit.
Train.
Yeah, G train.
cool.
Anyway,
But so obviously they went after him. He was quite agitated. I think there was a bit of that was when that scuffle happened just before halftime.
that scuffle came because he gave away 2 50s by hitting.
Yeah, we'll talk shit, get hit. That's the rule.
Yeah, but he started it and then had a sook because they all just came and obliterated him. He's literally the reason why it happened.
Mhm.
He thought he was being smart, hit one of them, gave away a 50, retaliated again, and gave away another one. That was 2 goals they got, bang bang, just from him.
Yeah, and they still lost.
Yeah, they still lost. But like he got dressed down because he did that, and then was having a sook because they all came and mobbed him. And Hinkley would have been like, "What the fuck do you expect's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
You just gave away 2 50s, being a fucking dickhead
Mm-hmm.
against the side who don't like you to begin with because you were, let's face it, a fucking dickhead." He probably deserves it. He probably should have got subbed out at that point. It's just like you're a liability on the field right now.
Yeah, I think they were thought about it, but I think the key focus was they were like Hinkley and Francis were face to face. Then I think Butters and Rose were on either side of him, and I think he went to walk away halfway through the chat. And I said, "Look, we disagreed about this, but if you're that upset and that agitated, then if you need to step away, I don't mind that, but you probably shouldn't do it mid-sentence with a coach. I'm
Definitely
50-50 on your side with that one."
No, you definitely
captain's-
should.
Or you just shut the fuck up and listen to what he has to say.
Exactly.
and
That's
then-
where I'm at. You shut the fuck up and you listen to it. Because
Yeah.
the way I think about it is if I was fucking giving someone a bit of a serve and they decided they were going to turn around and walk away from me when I'm in the middle of a sentence, that shit just escalated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean it's
I'd be fuming.
Who the fuck do you
yeah,
think you are walking
exactly.
away
Yeah,
from me?
like, it wouldn't be his teammates grabbing him by the collar and dragging him back
No.
in. It'd be fucking me. Like,
yeah. But my only point was that, like I said, I think even Hinkley said he's an emotional player, and like, look,
No shit.
yeah, but
He's still
that's how he got
breastfed.
himself into this. That's
Yeah,
how he got
yeah,
himself
yeah,
into the
yeah.
mess in the game in the first place.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, it's the landscape of what he's doing. It's the job and the career that he's
It's-
chosen.
In the consequence of his own action.
Exactly. And if he can't toughen up and handle it,
Take
it
responsibility
is
for
what it is.
Like, and you can't, like, by what you're suggesting is just continuing to pander to people, and it's just like, it's not, he caused it. They weren't even going for him at first, and then he did that, and it was your normal little bump coming past, or Jason, fuck you, Jason. That's probably all it is, and then he hits one of them, and then gives away a 50. He has a fucking spack attack because he hit one of them. He got a 50 against one. He gets shoved for it, hits another one and gives another 50 away, and then they go, "What are you hitting us for? Fuck you!" Boom, 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 boom. Then you get grilled from your coach for giving away 2 50s.
And the whole leadership team. It
Yeah,
wasn't just
yeah.
his coach. Like,
And then it's
leader
and
players
then
as well.
You
Player
got to
leaders.
wind your neck in because they're going to come after you, and the umpires aren't going to be friendly about it.
No.
And then he has a sook. It's like they should have subbed him out then and there. If maybe he tried to walk away from that, be like, "No worries, into the room.
Yeah.
See you later.
You're walking away, keep walking.
Yeah, you're done."
yeah.
And it's only for his benefit because
Not even into the room.
if he's an emotional
go and sit at
player,
the back of the bus on your own.
go fucking.
Yeah, I've got no issue if it was too much for him. Like that's fine, but it's like I said, the only thing I'm saying is people are different, and we can expect everyone to be emotionally stoic, which they're not.
This is so contradictory to what you were just saying before about how mental health ran. Where you can't.
I'm not saying it's a mental health thing. I'm just saying that people handle shit differently. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be better. He
you
probably
were
should
just
be. But if
saying-
he's
you were
not at
just
the
saying
moment,
we should be harder on them, and now you're saying, "Oh well,
Yeah.
you know."
We should be hard on them, but not Jason
James
Horne-Francis.
Francis.
Because he's soft and he can't take it.
He's emotional.
No, I'm just saying you've got to like not cater, but you've got to adjust to play. Every player is going to be different.
Like I said to you earlier, man, I think Ken Hinckley, for all of his faults, he's been a coach for long enough and been around the AFL for long enough, and he has enough of an understanding of Jason Horne-Francis and who he is, that he knows if that's the right time to pull that kind of lever or not. He knows what impact that conversation is going to have before he even starts that conversation.
Yeah,
and he didn't look like he was spraying or yelling or shouting. He looked like he was just talking pretty firmly, telling him, mate, you need to pull your fucking head in, play the game. Play the game, be the player that we drafted you or pulled you in to be, traded you in to be.
Yeah.
Well,
and then show him.
Yeah, they brought him in knowing that's what he is. So you have to take a percentage of that in that you wanted to get him here. And that's the way they wanted to take him away from North Melbourne. But it's like we were even with.
No, it wasn't so much that. It was I'm not coming back to this club. So then North were held to ransom, and at least Port said, "Yeah, we'll make a trade to get him out of there, and we'll give you a fucking bucket load for it."
Fucking fucket load.
Well, he was a first round pick. Oh, you say he was the number one pick.
He was number one pick, yeah. And he's a great footy player.
Yeah, like he performs. That's the big thing.
His attitude's just fucking poor.
Yeah, we've got some
and
players who don't perform,
because he on the field, he's 90% of the time he's like he goes out and he plays his game. But he's not. I don't know. There's plenty of players with worse attitudes out there. That's for sure.
You don't do half of what he does. So like, I'm just saying that I can understand it to a degree.
Yeah, but you just shut up and take it, listen to him, nod your head, fucking get over it. That's what it should be.
Yeah, that was most of the coaching.
Yeah, fair
actions.
Fair. Should we talk about how frustrating it is that there are still two teams that have not played the same amount of games as the rest of them?
Yeah.
Who are the teams lagging behind? Is it Brisbane Bombers? Is that because of the cyclone, or is it something different?
It's Gold Coast, and I was not prepared for this question. So
you know, this round 23 is when they play that game.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is this literally going to be the case all the way through the year?
100%.
Oh, that's so annoying.
It's
Gold
Gold
Coast
and
and the
then they've
Bombers.
got to play 3 games in 2 weeks.
That's right. It's Gold Coast and the Bombers.
Yeah.
It's pissing me off, man. It's bad for my neuroses.
Well, especially Gold Coast is going to be around the top 4 mark, so it could go right to the end.
It's the best thing for Gold Coast. But there was talk about this obviously here, and I did mention it back then that it's either really good or really bad for Gold Coast.
Yeah, because if they've got to play that many games in a short space of time,
it's really good because they've
bad.
got a game in their pocket, right? So what are they now? Top 4?
Yeah, they're third on the ladder.
They're third, and they're tied with first or a game behind.
Game behind.
Yeah, so essentially they've got
tied with fourth.
Yeah, and first and second are tied, right?
Yeah.
So you can almost say that they're tied with first because they got that game in their pocket, right?
Well, yeah.
Had they would have belted the Bombers based on their current form. We can safe to say
categorically say
when
that
game would have happened, Essendon probably would have got fucking belted by them.
Yeah.
Where's their percentage in relation to?
In relation to the Bombers?
No, in the ladder. What's Gold Coast's percentage?
There is nobody in the competition with a higher percentage than the Gold Coast.
Yeah, so they would be sitting top of the ladder. Right.
Yeah.
So they got that in their back pocket, and if Essendon don't pull some fucking magic where they become a top 4 side between now and then, they've essentially got to win.
Just sitting there in the bank.
There, right?
Yeah.
Problem is they have to play 3 games in 2 weeks. Now that might be all right, depending on what their draw is, and if there are a couple of these games, or say they keep performing well and there are 2 games in front at the end, won't really matter if they drop.
No,
you just rest players.
But they could just rest players and fine, and still be up in the pointy end, or they might be sitting on the border of the 8.
And it would be the deciding factor between playing finals and not.
Yeah, is that they've got to win 2 of those 3 games, or all 3 of those games, or not lose 2 of those games by more than whatever. Like,
yeah.
It'll make it real interesting as spectators. Then how the ladder's going to finish, and it could be really good for them to have that win available in that back pocket, or it could leave them in major detriment. Comes to that's the difference between a home final or 2 chances or playing.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
just gives me the fucking irrits looking at it now.
Yeah, I know it's annoying, but hey, it's
Especially once the games start too, because then there's like some teams
Live
that have
later.
played 8 and some that have played 7 and some have played 6, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, that's because the fixtures are really well thought up before every year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And they
they-
really planned for that tropical cyclone.
Well, if
didn't
they didn't
So-
put the game a week earlier in the
Right.
year, they probably would never have to worry about
Hey,
it.
that's true. Yeah.
Like with the current administration, they'd put the game in Thailand during monsoon season with the logic they provide. So
Yeah,
like
that's true.
anything's possible.
I wonder if I'd have thought, being Anzac Day, and there was this big talk. Oh, Tim Membry's first Anzac game. Well, it's not. Played one for St Kilda one
Oh, did he?
in Wellington. Makes me wonder. Do you reckon they'll ever take the footy back to New Zealand?
It makes more sense than anywhere else.
It does.
They
Well,
don't like
I mean-
it over there, do they? They don't.
Well, there's more and more Kiwis in the sport. Like,
The
it's
sport
not-
confuses them. We go forwards. It's a very
they go forward rugby,
no. They throw the ball backwards.
but they go forwards.
I'm aware that they
They don't
accelerate, yeah.
actually move backwards like they do in soccer, where they just run around backwards and
I
like
said they
this.
throw the ball.
You said they go backwards.
Did you understand what I meant by backwards?
I understood what you meant. I'm just.
Then you go in. Then you still. See, he's
Mate.
gaslighting me. Son. Amber Heard.
That's
There's
funny.
your bed. I want to take a shit on.
Oh,
I reckon it'd be cool to go back there again.
I mean, New Zealand are our neighbours. Like, we've got a lot of history. Like, it'd be nice to actually share because we get this. Like, we do a lot of rugby stuff with the state of origin comes. I know that's still an Australian
That's
league, but
Australian thing.
yeah, but I mean, that's rugby's the big sport. New
Union
Zealand,
is,
yeah.
unions, yeah.
So I think it'd be nice to go back over there. Makes more sense than China.
It does make more sense than China. That's
Oh,
true.
well, hey, China was a good business attempt because there's a fucking billion people over there. And if
Mm.
they all went, hey, this is awesome.
There's a billion people watching.
Yeah.
And
that's
they
a lot.
probably, to be fair, they probably captured a couple of mil too that do
Oh,
still watch.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah,
easy.
but were they forced to watch it or were they allowed to watch it? Is the question.
China's not like that anymore.
Huh?
China's not like that anymore.
Are you sure?
Well, they democratic now.
No, I'm just saying they're not forced to do things like that because they fucked everyone else's countries over to make theirs better, and now their own governors have to fuck their own people.
Have they gotten to you as well?
They might have done.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
no tariffs for him.
No. Look, I've never really had that thought, to be honest, and I never really. I don't know why. Small-minded of me. I never really even considered. the fact that-
It was such a good thing. It's like if you're gonna have 2 games on Anzac Day, one of them should be over.
Well, it's the Australian New Zealand Army Corps. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't?
And I don't know if you paid attention to what my scoring was during the weekend, but I was scoring the singers of the national anthem.
Oh, where?
Yeah, and
Was it Thursday night? One was really good. Was it one at Thursday
Where
or
were you
Friday
doing
night?
that?
just you didn't have like New Zealand 1, Australia 0.
Oh, is that what you meant?
New Zealand 2, Australia 0.
I thought the rugby was on. I had no idea what you were on about.
No, that's what it was. Is because
Maybe.
the Kiwis were singing way better than the Australians. One of them was so the actual Anzac game, the discrepancy between the quality of singers was like, yeah, it was pretty insane. We're talking, not
Yeah.
scrolling.
I'm scrolling to try and find these messages because I have no recollection of you sending
I did
any
do
of
it.
that.
You
No,
saw
he
it.
did do. I just didn't know what he meant by it. So at least you ignored it. I
I
didn't.
was
know-
waiting for one of his to ask me, and you never did.
Yeah,
so.
no, this is how we interpret things. differently.
yeah.
I was trying to score the.
I
national
think it's
anthem
because you
singers.
you lost it in the
Oh, I
midst
was-
of
yeah, I was
the. Oh look,
blitzing,
they
yeah.
like guns at the MCG now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
It's
that was a
like,
good
fuck.
Fuck yeah, that was a good joke.
That was a very good joke. That one got me, so I must
Just
have
with
missed the other shit around
touching
it.
on the Anzac Day.
I love that game.
the Essendon Collingwood. Is it? Should we just leave it at 1? Because I felt that it was too much
Yes.
having Fremantle and Adelaide in the
Oh
evening.
look, no, I like the 2 games on Friday because we keep the Friday night. But it's not always the case if Anzac Day is not on.
Yeah, I just thought
Friday.
I like the main game at midday. I think 2's a bit much for what
No.
because you take not that you're taking away from the day, but it's not about football. I think 1 game is perfectly fine.
No, it's not about football though. But I also like the idea that other states have had the opportunity to host an Anzac game. Like that was really good for Perth. Like really good for Perth. I'd
Yeah.
love to go watch my team on Anzac.
It would be
Oh, it'd
good.
be great. Like, so I've always thought that they could always share that marquee game.
That game between those two teams is for an actual purpose. It's the only one of those fucking stupid marquee games in the entire competition that has an actual reason why it's those two teams. It's not, oh, we love Richmond and Carlton, so they're the season opener. Or
What is the reason that it's always them?
in World War One, because of conscription. Yeah, it's just.
You brought up the war this time. Just to put that on the record. Yep.
Because of obviously conscription, everyone had to go. The only two clubs that could field teams during World War One were Essendon and Collingwood, because they were the only two clubs that had enough people that weren't in their teams to be able to field a playing side.
Right.
So they played an exhibition game that between those two clubs.
Right.
It's the same as COVID. The only 2 years where there's been like no footy. World War One, COVID.
Interesting.
And they were the only two, because they were the only two sides who could field a team. They played an exhibition game that year. Pretty sure it was an exhibition game they played.
Just like one of the weeks, or like was that it for the year?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was only the one game they played. They might have played a couple, but they were the only two sides in the VFL who could, or it still would have been the VFA back then who could.
That's wild, man.
So that's why that game exists on Anzac Day.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
That's great, because it's and I know it's a VFL tradition. It's a bit it hurts the national comp. That's where I think it's important that we have each other state gets to host a
game too. Yeah,
game, just so, because it is a national competition, and
it is. But like
those troops fought from all over the country. You know, it's nice to.
No, they do. I just think. Look, the only thing is, I think 2 is too much on the. I think one game, marquee game, because the day's not about football.
I understand that, but it's not always on a Friday. If Anzac
no,
Day
it's not, and that's my.
It's a different story. You're not going to have the night game on it. So
I'm just saying, even if the day changed, I think one game, even if it's on a Saturday or a Sunday, we can move it around a bit, but I think it should be one on that day.
I don't hate your opinion.
No, it's just an observation I make.
Yeah. But what if I
don't really have much of a thought
on that.
Like I said before,
they should play a game in New Zealand as well. What if there's a game in each country?
I think that. I mean, if they did that, I would be on board that on the one day.
Yeah,
to represent both. I think that'd be a great idea. But even with I'll give you another one, because obviously they do the Anzac Day ceremonies like on the day, and they do it before and after. If it's not on the day, does it still feel right? Does that make sense?
For the rest of the weekend?
Yeah. If they do a ceremony before every game.
I think it is, because it's an Anzac round. As you got to remember that, like the soldiers from every one of those clubs all went to war throughout history of the sport, and players from every interstate side, their family members fought for Australia. Yeah,
I'm not saying in terms of all. I know all the teams, but does it take away from a bit when it's not the actual day?
No, because you'll see a lot of games. They have veterans there, people who would die for their country, would die for their clubs as well. You know, like, and at the end of the day, the whole point of Anzac Day is to recognise those who have fought for Australia. And there's people who have fought for Australia and New Zealand who support every club. Yeah. And it's their day, so it should be their weekend as well. You know, like.
Yeah, not just because it's obviously with the day we celebrate, but that just a bit of interesting.
Yeah, we can make that argument. Why do all these marquee rounds get a whole round, but Anzacs can't? They're the only. That's an actual thing which has a significant impact on the history of this nation.
Anzac is probably the most important.
So Douglas Nicol became 2 rounds, which is I'm okay with, because it means every club gets to have their home game doing it. Like. That's just as significant to Australian history as what the Anzac.
Yeah, that was one thought I had this year. I thought it was a long day enough with the 2 games, but either way. But no, I like your New Zealand idea to do them on that day.
Bring that back.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome idea.
And like, they want their expansion. Well, go to your fucking go to your nation. Spend money doing that. They can spend enough money over here. Send some back over there. Do something like that's cool. It makes sense. But there was the whole Anzac Day was pretty controversial with the Welcome to Country's dawn service and that.
Was that the first time they've done that with the Welcome to Country?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Everyone was a bit Would you say everyone was mixed? Was it 50-50 reaction?
Or
or was
the
it
people,
kinda...
the people who are really upset by the veterans and family members of people who've died fighting because they've earned the right to. They believe that they shouldn't be welcome to the country they die for, basically.
That's a fair.
Yeah, but welcome to country doesn't mean welcome to the country. It means welcome to this exact area.
Yeah, the piece of land that you stand on.
Yeah. So, but again,
cross wires it's crossing over different cultures. Like that's probably the problem.
I understand where they're coming from, and I also go, well, hang on, it's not exactly what it means. But I'm a pretty firm believer in we don't need welcome to countries before everything.
Well, that's why. How many times do we have to be welcomed a year? Is my question.
Yeah, like it's. But my point was there was after that had happened, I'd expected the MCG to have a problem with it when it kicked. The people in the footy world already believe that they shouldn't be doing it for half the shit they do it for, and after there'd been issues, welcome to country at dawn service, I was very much expecting it to be a big mess for Uncle Colin down the MCG, but it wasn't.
No.
The point of this was that it's well, I mean, but if you were going to Anzac game, you're there for a reason. You're going to start getting upset about something, whether it bothers you or not. You're not going to be.
You could say that about a dawn service too.
Yeah, but the people who got upset at the dawn service are the people who the dawn service is for. Like if one of the loaded weapons in the MCG had been set off during welcome to country and protest, that's a different story.
Yeah.
How do we know his best mate wasn't shot in the face?
Yeah, you could say, the dawn service upsets the Germans. Like, it's going to upset somebody.
Why the Germans?
Well, that was World War II, no? Japanese, perhaps?
Do you know what he's referencing here?
The Germans are World War II. I know that.
And World War One. But what's it got? Why would it upset the Germans?
Because they're who we fought against?
I don't know, man. I'm no history buff. I don't know enough
Mate,
about
you're British. You started half of it.
Yeah, he's fucking nothing. I'm British, but I didn't listen in school.
He destroyed half the nation, planet multiple times over.
Right. I didn't.
I'll give you a
Did
spoiler.
You say what? All right.
You heard whatever you wanted to hear, all right?
Britain played a big part in World War II.
Oh, dear.
Old Churchill.
So,
Winnie.
to change the subject, does anybody regret anything about their top eights in the ladder predictor only 8 weeks ago?
I can't even remember what it is, to be honest with you.
Oh, don't worry, I've got it right.
Oh, yeah,
I know.
Let's listen to that. That'd be good.
I know I had Gold Coast nowhere near the 8, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
So Chad's top 8 goes like this: Brisbane, Giants, Carlton, Collingwood, Sydney, Western Bulldogs, Port Adelaide, Adelaide. Any regrets?
Yeah. Carlton, Adelaide, Port Adelaide. No, I like GWS. They're alright. The rest of them are okay, I think.
Well, Cromer are in a better position than Sid.
Yeah, we are, but we'll be lucky. We'll scrape the 8 if we're lucky.
You had them in 8, to be fair, when you did it.
I thought that was a fair.
I don't think his is too bad outside of Carlton. Port.
And that's
Swans.
And based on their last year,
but
it's probably
I
a bit
know
harsh.
Swans and Carlton fine as well.
Yeah. I can only go back.
You do. Yeah. You have Swans a little higher than Chadley
had
did.
What, top 2?
3. Yeah, you had Brisbane, Giants, Sydney, Hawks, Freo, Carlton, Geelong, Collingwood.
Yeah, much more back.
Yours is closer to realistic. Yeah,
because I've got Freo in there. Take Freo out.
Gold Coast in,
and I've got pretty much the numbers, but Sydney is still. Doggies should be in there over
Sydney can make a late charge. You never know.
Yeah, but Doggies should be in there. Right?
You reckon Carlton?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Carlton out. I meant yeah.
I've got Brisbane, Sydney. Regret. Geelong, Giants, Collingwood, Hawthorn, Freo, and Melbourne.
So you need to take your bottom 2 out.
You're probably Freo, Melbourne out, Sydney out.
You're probably better off than I am.
No, because you've at least got Collingwood in the top 8.
Yeah, I do.
Tied first. So I just thought it'd be interesting just to sort of review them, have a quick look at where we're at.
And
only
I
7 weeks
did
later.
say, I was like, God, I really hope Gold Coast are there, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do it again. And well, boy, was I wrong, and I'm okay with that.
Oh boy, yeah.
Well, look, we're a third of the way through the season now, aren't we? So it's a good time to. We did say we were going to review it.
Yeah.
This time through, so
We're a third of the way through after next round. To be fair, so I've kind of jumped a week early.
round 7.
Round 7 plus opening round equals
What,
8
the,
weeks
the,
in.
the 2 games we had opening round.
Oh jeez, it's a wild time.
7 1/4 in.
7 1/4. Let's go with that. But we're a third of the way through. So going back to Gold Coast having a game in hand, I wanted to talk about the Coleman medal leader
Oh yeah,
because
who's up there at the moment?
well, Ben King is leading the race
Yeah,
for the Coleman.
who's second? Jesse Hogan.
No. Where are you?
Larky?
Oh, fuck, I've lost it. I fucking had it. Sorry, guys. Give me 2 seconds.
Spud. I reckon Jack Higgins is like top.
I reckon Jack Higgins
That's
is number 2.
interesting.
He's
Yeah.
not number 2, surely.
Jack Higgins is number 2. So Ben King on 23, and then right behind him on 20 is Jack Higgins and Josh Tracy.
Well, the big kahuna makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Riley Philthorpe on 19.
But it's another Adelaide player after that as well, isn't it?
No, it's Nick Larkey on 18.
Okay, there's another Adelaide. There was like 3 Adelaide players in the
It might have changed
top
a bit.
5 before this round.
The next Adelaide player is number 11, Taylor
Oh.
Walker.
So there was a whole shuffle, but there was like 3 of them all there, and I was like, fuck, watch out, one of them's gonna.
The last 2 weeks.
Was
we've
that
had-
after round 1 by any chance? Because
No,
the next
my-
Adelaide player is like not even in the 50s.
Oh, maybe I'm
Well, the last 2 weeks we haven't scored a lot, so that probably doesn't help.
Nah.
maybe I'm imagining. I knew Tex was there at least.
Yeah,
Was
no, he's still
on-
alright.
Someone else was as well.
So-
So who's number 5
Number 5 is Nick Larkey.
and number 6?
Paul Curtis.
Oh yeah. Oh
2
man,
North
he's having
Melbourne
a
players.
fucking
He's having a
season.
great
Bro,
season so far.
he's on track for a lot of votes already, I reckon.
Is it depressing who number 2 is? Like, that just makes me feel like the forwards aren't doing the rest of their work.
Well,
When you start looking
Let-
through the list and you realise Jesse Hogan's 10th and
how many
Toby
goals,
Green's 12,
How many goals has Hogan got?
17.
He's missed around.
Yeah, so he's 3 goals behind.
Yeah. He's 6 goals behind number 1 and he won it last year.
No, but what I mean is, how many did King kick on the weekend?
4?
3 or 4?
So he was on 19, and Hogan. I don't think Hogan kicked any goals. He kicked 1 goal,
Oh, okay.
and he had like 4 or 5 behinds in that.
And he's dropped from fucking like
That's
second
what I mean.
to 10th.
Like I'm pretty sure it was very different landscape last week.
Yeah, fair.
Based on who had big games, who didn't. Like,
Well, Benny King has put himself 3 ahead of the next guy and still has a game in hand.
oh
So
yeah.
Is
But
he a lock?
on that current trajectory, if we're a third of the way through the season, we're going to finish on like 60 goals as the max.
Like that for a long time, mate.
That's depressing.
When's the last time anyone did anything really higher than that? Like 60. What was
Yeah.
it last year? 63 or
Well,
something?
Buddy's the last one to kick 100.
Yeah.
And JK was the last one to kick 80 until Kerno did. I think Kerno
Oh, Jesse Hogan kicked 77 last year.
Yeah, but he hasn't done 80. But I think Kerno did 80 on his first Coleman year.
What is that? He
90.
did 81 in 23.
Okay, so and then it would have been I think it might have been 83 in his first Coleman year.
2 was a low scoring.
Yeah.
67. 21. Oh, COVID years.
And what was it in 19? I think 19 would have been
2020, Tom Hawkins won the Coleman with 49
yeah,
goals.
that's right. 19,
19, Jeremy Cameron 76.
76. Yeah. So Kerno's only done 80 once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
81.
Which was last year before last.
Yeah.
23.
Still a good effort for this
So-
generation.
So
yeah.
it took 6 years till someone come through and kicked 80 again. And I dare say Kerno will likely be the last person to kick 80.
Yeah, more than likely. More
Hogan,
than likely.
Sorry, Hogan. No, 77.
77,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
reckon Darcy, if he can fight, he's getting better and better, he might be able to keep that going.
It's not about the player though.
No, it's about the gameplay.
Everything else.
Yeah.
That
It's like
leads up to it, yeah.
I've often said that if like JK had started a couple years earlier at Hawthorn, he would have kicked 100 goals.
Mm.
He had the supply,
Not the delivery.
and that was the end of that type of gameplay. Was that because that was the same? Like even he couldn't get a game at Carlton because Fev was kicking 99 goals. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, he was just at the end of that era. He could have started, if he started a different team that needed that forward, he would have 100 goals.
Well, when forwards were allowed to be forwards instead of anaerobic.
That's right. Like, he
Second-gen
was a
midfielders,
couple
yeah.
years too
Backman.
late. So, you know, like, if he'd been in Bud's position, he would have done the exact same thing Buddy did. But, like, there's been a whole heap of players like that. Tom Hawkins, if he'd been earlier and was where Bud was, he would have kicked 100 goals in a season.
Yeah.
Like, it's there's been a few players like that who, you know, you rate them of the modern era. That's who those forwards are. But I reckon there's been 3 or 4 that all could have achieved what Bud did. Maybe not with the X factor that he has, but like their work rate and their capacity to kick straight still got them. You know,
Yeah, Charlie
they
Dixon
wouldn't
was
be
in-
snapping them from 65 out. You know, but
If Charlie Dixon was in that Hawthorn team, would have set a record for behinds in a season, I
yeah,
think.
100%.
Quite possibly.
That bloke couldn't kick straight, eh?
No. I think it's going to be interesting, though, that sort of race for the Coleman. And
It'll end up being a washout unless the Giants start firing and Hogan gets moving.
yeah.
I don't think, or North start winning games. There's no one's really going to catch him.
We'll see. We shall.
Well, who is there? Like,
Oh, you're right, Nick Lark.
unless North are winning, which means again more scoring shots, he's not gonna. He'll kick 9 against West Coast, and that'll.
Yeah. Hey, you might be right.
What about you, Brownlow? You were looking at who's hot for the Brownlow so far based on
Well, yeah.
Devils?
I mean, yeah. I was just going to move on to
There's
the
three.
tips, but
There's
we
three.
can talk
There's
about
3
it.
players.
Yeah,
who
it's
could be
pretty-
it right now.
Yeah.
Dawson, 1.
Patrick Cripp. Nick Dacos. I don't know who the third might be.
Yeah, what team are you pulling from for the third, Finney?
Let's have a bit of a fuck. Oh, Zach Butters is
No,
third on the predictor list.
yeah, but
He's
he
missed
hasn't-
a few
he's
rounds.
Caleb
missed a few
Sarong?
games.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that's fair. Oh, yeah, no, yes.
Yeah, he's up there.
Sarong,
Yeah,
but it will be.
Patrick Cripp.
He
Think
gets
he's-
3
do you
votes
think
in
he's
if he
deep?
doesn't play.
Yeah. It will either be Patrick Cripps or Nick Dacos.
Nick Dacos has got it this year. There's no.
Yeah, if he stays uninjured, like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there is literally no unless he gets suspended.
Well, who's ineligible at the moment? There's only.
Noel Bolt.
We can't go to the Brownlow this time.
I mean that might have. That's good. I mean that might have actually. Yeah. Fly over and watch it from here. I mean that might actually be in the running with some votes. And according to this predictor list on AFL.com.au, there is only one ineligible player who currently sits 5th with a predicted 28 vote, and that's Isaac.
He's always.
Fucking loves a good ban, that guy, doesn't he?
So the question is, where does Bont?
Well, it depends how much of a clean run he can have for the rest of the year.
If he comes home hard, he
Yeah.
might, it'll be
Well,
interesting.
he's already got 6 votes in 2 games. Like, there's no way he didn't get 3 votes in both of those games.
No, he's been a star. How many rounds has he missed? 4 or 5?
He's only played 2.
So he's going to have to be consistent and not get injured.
He's being predicted on this list for 19 votes.
Well, he's got 6 of them already. So
And I guess it depends on what Dacos and Cripps do as well. Like if they
well, as
remain
long as
consistent.
Cripps
Wait a minute.
doesn't get banned, he'll
I'm
get,
reading this.
Well, it doesn't
whole
even matter
thing
if Cripps
wrong.
hits anybody, he'll still get.
He's reading it wrong, apparently. Is it the app's fault
fucking
again?
retarded. No, it's me.
You don't use the R word, do you?
It just came out. I was quite frustrated with myself.
No, he didn't.
that was
use it
last year's
properly,
list.
So he retarded the app.
Yeah.
He used it in the correct.
That was
context.
last year's list. I was looking.
Context.
Do we need to
You
have a
fucking
do
idiot.
we need to have a Higley chat?
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah,
Just go
that's,
for it.
all
Should
right.
we do the tips then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Holy shit.
I wasn't prepared this week, but that's all right.
Who is?
That's fine.
Who actually
That's
is?
fucking so.
Do you know what? Yeah, it is. Do you know what's frustrated me again? James the Conqueror. I went looking for him. Can't find him. So Please
James.
announce
Oh,
yourself,
right.
because you're now 2 ahead of me in the tip. James O.
Now, where are we up to in the tips? I think I would have caught you this week.
Let's have a look. The ladder. I am second in our comp on 42.
I must have dropped off dramatically, eh? Where am I?
Yes, you're fifth in our comp on 39.
Oof.
Finn, you are seventh on 38. You had 7.
How do I?
You had 5.
How are you worse than me?
I had 6.
How did how?
That's bad, man.
You're only 4 behind me, though.
Yeah, but
And I'm 2 behind
less
James the
than
Conqueror.
30, man.
38 is not less than 30.
I meant 40. Less than 40 sorry.
Ha! You fucked up too.
We are about
You
podcast.
dumb idiot.
All right.
Oh, this is going to be a
There's a couple of
this will be a make or break round, I think.
yeah.
for
There's a
some
couple
us.
of interesting ones here. Yeah. Who's gonna go first?
Yeah,
I'll go
your
first.
tips out for the
Oh.
boys.
Oh, tips out for the boys.
Go on.
I've got Bombers by 20.
Okay.
Then I've got
Loud music coming.
Loud music.
Oh dear. Should I go first?
Yeah, maybe you should. No, it's all right. I'll finish in a sec, and then
All right.
we just have to listen to that. It's a production error. I'm sorry. Double fuck.
I'm gonna read last year's list again.
I've been doing that for years. That's the first time I've ever made that mistake.
Mm.
First time.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Oh, maybe I did it like the first or second
Yeah. When it. Yeah.
when we didn't even have one listener.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I've gone St Kilda.
Okay.
Yep.
In the Ross Lyon Cup.
I literally just said before that Freo will be like, oh yeah, we're back on track now, and then next week they're just gonna fucking complete opposite of what they're meant to. They'll lose to St Kilda.
Okay.
You could say the two teams are 2 girls, 1 cup because there's only 1 premiership between them. Dread. Sorry, keep going.
Sack it.
Yeah.
We're
Western-
16 games in.
Western Bulldogs, Adelaide Crows, Collingwood, the D's, the Giants, Hawthorn, the Suns.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. We differ slightly.
Good.
You?
That means I can keep catching up.
I'm going to go north, but I'm going to go by 15 points. Why is that funny?
That's like 4 weeks in a row now. You've been like, no, I'm going to go north.
No, I think they can beat the Bombers.
And then they lose by 60 points.
No, I got a good feeling this week.
All
Parker's
right.
going to lead him the way. He's a better coach than is it Brad Scott? Which twin? Whoever it is. I'm going to go Freo. I'll go. No, I'll go for the Bullies on that one. Where's this at? I will go. I'll go Carlton for this one actually.
Tip against his boys.
They're based off form, yeah.
Yep. Fair.
Let's go. Cats.
Oh, come on, man.
Melbourne. GWS. Hawks. Brisbane.
Okay. I've got Essendon by 16. I've got Fremantle, Western Bulldogs, Adelaide Crows, Collingwood, West Coast Eagles, GWS,
Are you high?
Hawthorn, Brisbane. No, I'm going. So they're fucking winning.
Did you get a corporate box or did you in the pub
No,
stand?
I'm in section 333, row 17. Come say hello.
He's going and they're winning, and I'm stopping the music from playing during the episode.
Good one.
Because I fucking didn't, which
No.
means they're not.
Nah, they're winning. They're winning.
Really?
Yeah. Oscar Allen, best key defender in the comp.
We need to start drug testing a bit more in here.
Nah, I'm going to back him in
Trying
for a win.
Trying
Why
to
not?
upset me, you're doing a good job of it.
Good job. Anything else?
No, that's it.
That's it. Afraid of the mark. Thanks
See
for
ya
coming.
next week, pals and champs.
Did you just champ our friends?
Yeah.
Outrageous.
If you didn't like that, say something about it, champ.